Hello, citizens of the Republic of Korea and overseas the compatriots and free citizens of the United States who will be watching this broadcasting. Hello, thank you very much for watching our YouTube channel today. The story I'll tell you today is as follows. If Moon Jae-in and Lee Jae-myung are brought to court in the United States on charges of violating sanctions against North Korea, spies from North Korea and China will disappear from South Korea. Hello, everybody. This is Jae-young. English name is David Choi from Indo-Pacific Strategy Institute. I would appreciate it if you could forward this letter and broadcast it to President Donald J. Trump and his staffs. I am a former case officer of the National Intelligence Service of the Republic of Korea, and I was a secret agent who mainly dealt with North Korea and Chinese issues on the ground. I graduated from the Department of Chinese Language and Literature at Seoul National University, and I received a master's degree in Chinese simultaneous interpretation from the Graduate School of Interpretation and Translations at Hankuk University of Foreign Studies, and mainly worked in China and the Asian regions. On April 27, 2018, Moon Jae-in, a spy from North Korea and China, met with Kim Jong-un, the leader of the North Korean puppet criminal group, at Panmunjom and handed over a USB containing South Korea's state secrets to Kim Jong-un. Many journalists and lawyer attorneys have asked the Yoon Suk-yeol government to disclose what confidential, what secret information is contained in this USB. But the Yoon Suk-yeol government has refused to disclose the contents of this USB, claiming that it contains state secrets. Then, many journalists and lawyers' attorneys filed a request for information disclosure with the court, but the judges in the court secretly reported the information and refused to disclose it, saying that it contained level 3 national secret. This fact was reported in all media outlets in South Korea, but President Yoon Suk-yeol did not investigate Moon Jae-in on charge of espionage. Ahead of April 2024 general elections, many patriotic groups asked President Yoon Suk-yeol to arrest Moon Jae-in on charge of espionage, but President Yoon Suk-yeol lost the election after starting a fighting with doctors, one of the conservative groups. In addition, President Yoon Suk-yeol turned his back on the scientific community, one of the conservative groups, by cutting the National Research and Development Fund by 30% across the board. In order to silence public opinion calling for Moon Jae-in to be arrested on charge of espionage, he declared war on doctors by demonizing them and declaring that he would dismantle their character. But he ended up losing the general election while fighting against them. And as hospitals across the country were on the verge of closing down one after another starting early next year due to the failure of his own medical policy, and the prosecution began a full-scale investigation into corruption allegations against President Yoon Suk-yeol and his wife Kim Gun-hee. He was unable to endure it and declared a martial law on December 3rd, 2024. However, while President Yoon Suk-yeol reading the martial law declaration, President Yoon Suk-yeol did not mention at all the fact that Moon Jae-in violated United Nations and the United States of America sanctions against North Korea, such as handing over a USB containing state secrets to North Korea or sending money to North Korea. President Yoon Suk-yeol only mentioned the anti-state actions of his political opponent, Lee Jae-myung, the leader of the Democratic Party of Korea. In addition, President Yoon Suk-yeol explained the reason why for declaring martial law at a press conference on December 12th, but did not mention at all the fact that Moon Jae-in violated the United Nations and the United States sanctions against North Korea by handing over a USB and sending remittances to North Korea. President Yoon Suk-yeol is thoroughly protecting Moon Jae-in's espionage charges. And Han Dong-hoon, who served as the People Power Party leader and was the first minister of the Justice under the Yoon Suk-yeol administrations, did not investigate Moon Jae-in's USB handed over to North Korea on espionage charges at all. President Yoon Suk-yeol, his wife, Kim Gun-hee, said in a message exchanged with reporters that Yoon Suk-yeol and Han Dong-hoon are Moon Jae-in's best bodyguard, hunter dog. Many Koreans suspect that President Yoon Suk-yeol and former Justice Minister Han Dong-hoon received astronomical bribes in exchange for covering up Moon Jae-in's espionage charges. The fact that the USB that Moon Jae-in handed over to Kim Jong-un contained state secret confidentials is known to all Koreans, so the Democratic Party of Korea could have easily been disbanded as a North Korean spy party if an investigation into this were conducted and there was absolutely no need to declare martial law. However, President Yoon Suk-yeol is absolutely reluctant to mention Moon Jae-in's espionage charges, even though he himself is in danger of being arrested for sedition. Currently, President Yoon Suk-yeol is fighting with Lee Jae-myung, the leader of the Democratic Party of Korea, who is a political enemy of Moon Jae-in. In other words, President Yoon Suk-yeol is telling the people that he is fighting against the forces trying to destroy the Republic of Korea, but actually it seems like a lie. Because they are trying to get rid of Lee Jae-myung, Moon Jae-in's political enemies, while giving him a free pass on his espionage charges, which were actually committed by North Korea and China. Many Koreans suspect that the investigation into Moon Jae-in's espionage is not being conducted because they are worried that the moment Moon Jae-in is investigated, the details of the bribes will be revealed to the media because Yoon Suk-yeol and Han Dong-hoon received astronomical amount of bribes from Moon Jae-in, and both Yoon Suk-yeol and Han Dong-hoon will face life imprisonment for bribery. Donald J. Trump administration, please ask the investigative authorities, including the National Intelligence Service, prosecutors, and police of the Yoon Suk-yeol government, why they are not investigating the USB that Moon Jae-in handed over to North Korea. Even now, if an investigation into the espionage charges against Moon Jae-in for the USB that he handed over to North Korea were to begin, the opposition Democratic Party of Korea would be immediately disbanded as a North Korean spy party, but Yoon Suk-yeol and Han Dong-hoon are silent. In the Donald J. Trump administration, please ask Han Dong-hoon why he gave up investigating Moon Jae-in for espionage while serving as Attorney General. What is even more strange is that even in the current ruling party, the People Power Party, there is not a single member of the National Assembly who is insisting on investigating Moon Jae-in for espionage regarding the USB he handed over to North Korea. President Yoon Suk-yeol appointed former Chief of Staff Kim Dae-gi, who does not speak a word of Chinese at all, as ambassador to China. Many Koreans suspect that the President Yoon Suk-yeol sold all national secrets, including military secrets related to the Korean military and U.S. forces in Korea, to China through former Chief of Staff Kim Dae-gi. Currently, in South Korea, espionage charges are not applicable except for North Korea. But I think the fact that the former Chief of Staff to the President Kim Dae-gi, who knows all of South Korea's national secret, was appointed as ambassador to China is an act of espionage. In addition, President Yoon Suk-yeol has pushed to purchase 100 trillion won, $90 billion worth of Chinese offshore wind power equipment by 2030 and install it on the west coast of the Korea Peninsula. If this project goes well, the rebate alone will exceed at least 1 trillion won, $1 billion US. It will be enough political funds for pro-China forces. While many corruption cases occurred during the Moon Jae-in administration, when Chinese solar power generation equipment was installed throughout South Korea, Yoon Suk-yeol and Han Dong-hoon did not investigate at all for the past 2 years. And if Chinese companies conduct underwater exploration under the pretext of installing offshore wind power equipment and create underwater maps of the west coast of the Korea Peninsula, and provide them to the Chinese military, they will be opening up a route for Chinese submarine to infiltrate the West Coast. Also, if Chinese companies install sensors on the seabed to monitor the movement of the Korea and the U.S. Navy submarines, the movement of both Korea and the U.S. Navy submarines could be exposed to the Chinese Navy. In particular, in the case of the West Sea, the activities of the Chinese maritime militia disguised as Chinese fishing boats are very active. And if the Chinese maritime militia disguised as Chinese fishing boats land on the islands of the West Sea during the fog seasons, the Korean Navy and the Coast Guard will not be able to stop the landing of the Chinese maritime militia because of the offshore wind power generation equipment. If the Chinese maritime militia lands on island of the west coast and install the various missiles, it is highly likely that the South Korean and the American navies and the fighter jets will be unable to operate off the west coast of the Korea Peninsula. President Yoon Suk-yeol, who is fully aware of this national security risk, has already approved the installation of Chinese offshore wind power equipment until 2030. And on October 2, 2024, the KADEX, KADEX, Defense Industry Exhibition was held at the emergency runway of the Republic of Korea Armed Forces Command in Gyeongdae. And at that time, Chinese companies installed Chinese tents on the emergency runway of the Republic of Korea Armed Forces Command. Many media outlets reported that Chinese tents should not be pitched, but the person who gave permission was Minister of National Defense, Shin Won-shik. He is currently serving as the Director of National Security under the Yoon Suk-yeol administrations. President Donald J. Trump should demand that the South Korean government explain why President Yoon Suk-yeol sent his chief of staff, who cannot speak Chinese at all, to serve as ambassador to China, and should thoroughly investigate how much confidential information from the United States and the South Korean militaries in Korea was leaked to China. In 2018, Moon Jae-in administration violated United States sanctions against North Korea by taking a satellite broadcasting vehicles, strategic materials to Pyongyang and then leaving them behind. President Yoon Suk-yeol has not investigated at all for the past 2 years. In addition, there has been no investigation at all into the case of Moon Jae-in sending money to North Korea. The Moon Jae-in and the Yoon Suk-yeol administrations are legally providing China with a massive amount of dollars while importing Chinese solar power generation equipment and wind power generation equipment. if Han Dong-hoon, who has deep ties to the Chinese Communist Party, becomes the next president of Korea, the South Korea and United States alliance will be cleverly weakened and many dollars and cutting-edge, very advanced technologies from Korea will flow to China. In 2022, when Han Dong-hoon was the Minister of the Justice, he visited the Southern District of New York to receive briefings and investigative materials on the case of the Lee Jae-myung and the Korean politicians sending money to North Korea using the cryptocurrency, Ethereum. The Korean Ministry of Justice announced to the press that it would thoroughly investigate, but in the past 2 years, Minister of Justice Han Dong-hoon, General Attorney, has not conducted any investigation at all. Many Koreans deeply suspect that Han Dong-hoon received cryptocurrency from Lee Jae-myung on the condition that he would not investigate Lee Jae-myung's cryptocurrency remittance to North Korea. The People Power Party, the current ruling party in Korea, went to Beijing, China in 2009 and signed a business exchange agreement with the Chinese Communist Party. Also in 2015, the Yeouido Research Institute, a research institute that creates the policies for the People Power Party, signed another business exchange agreement with the Chahar Institute, a foreign spy agency of the Chinese Communist Party. If you look closely at the contents of the two business exchange agreements they signed, the core of them is to cleverly neutralize the military alliance between Korea and the United States. Since 2009, politicians and party officials of the People Power Party have been traveling back and forth to Beijing, China, playing friendly soccer matches, and have had very deep exchanges with the Chinese Communist Party. So, the People Power Party has long since been fallen to Korean branch of the Chinese Communist Party. Accordingly, the People Power Party is very cleverly coming up with the policies that make South Korea socialist or communist, and is also cleverly coming up with policies that neutralize the Korea and the United States alliance. In order to become the leader of the People Power Party, one must have a very deep connection to the Chinese Communist Party. And on August 15, 2016, when the Chinese Communist Party press newspaper, the People's Daily, issued an editorial ordering that impeach President Park Geun-hye for allowing the deployment of the third People Power Party lawmaker, followed the Chinese Communist Party's order and impeached President Park Geun-hye. The name of Democratic Party of Korea, of which Moon Jae-in was the party leader, was taken from Kim Il-sung's memo with the century and the term people-centered, that Moon Jae-in shouted in the term that appears in Chapter 3 of the North Korean Socialist Constitutions. Therefore, the Democratic Party of Korea was a North Korean spy party, but in July 2019, it went to Beijing and signed a business exchange agreement with the Chinese Communist Party and was fallen to a subordinate organization of the Chinese Communist Party. Currently, there are two branches of the Chinese Communist Party in Korea, and they take turns in pouring out socialist bills, communist bills, and pro-China policies. President Yoon Suk-yeol appointed Yoon Hee-gun as the Commissioner General of the Korea National Police Agency early in his term. Yoon Hee-gun, he graduated from the Korean National Police University and went to China to obtain a master's degree in law from the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences, a Chinese Communist Party spy training institute. Currently, China is holding Moon Jae-in captive, and many Koreans suspect that Moon Jae-in is bribing his former bodyguard Yoon Suk-yeol with an astronomical amount of election funds, making him president of the People Power Party and making his former bodyguard Han Dong-hoon the next president, so that he can be absolved of his espionage activities and is moving forward with a plan to very cleverly dismantle the Republic of Korea and hand it over to China. Moon Jae-in, Yoon Suk-yeol, and Han Dong-hoon are all Roman Catholics, and Koreans suspect that the Jesuit organization was behind their rise to power. You probably know that the Pope of the Vatican is a Jesuit, supports the homosexuality, and is pro-China. Moon Jae-in, Yoon Suk-yeol, and Han Dong-hoon mobilized the prosecution to frame Supreme Court Justice of the Republic of Korea and arrest them en masse. They also investigated about 1,000 employees of the security agencies, including the National Intelligence Service, Military Intelligence Command, and the police, and arrested about 200 of them. They also arrested President Park Geun-hye on charges that do not even exist in the law: economic community, state affairs corruption, and implicit solicitation of bribes, and bringing Samsung chairman Lee Jae-myung to trial for 9 years, causing Samsung to fail. If Samsung Electronics goes bankrupt, Samsung's advanced semiconductor technologies and all of the markets in the world it owned will legally fall into the hands of the Chinese companies. If I were the next presidential candidate or director of the National Intelligence Service of the Republic of Korea, I would formally propose the following to President Donald J. Trump. Moon Jae-in and Lee Jae-myung of the Democratic Party of Korea are criminals who violated the United States and the United Nations sanctions against Korea by sending remittances to North Korea in dollars and cryptocurrencies. Therefore, please indict Moon Jae-in and Lee Jae-myung of the Democratic Party of Korea in the United States on charge of sending dollars to North Korea, request the South Korean government to extradite them to a United States court and make a room available at the Guantanamo Hotel. If Moon Jae-in and Lee Jae-myung stand trial in the United States for violating United States sanctions on North Korea, it will be possible to bring numerous people related to them to trial in the United States, and it will be possible to eradicate large numbers of the Chinese and the North Korean spies in South Korea. And if Kim Jong-un wants to negotiate with the United States, ask him to release the list of spy espionage planted in South Korea on North Korean broadcast. If you threaten to bomb Pyongyang, if the list of the spies espionage planted in South Korea is not released on North Korean broadcasting, Kim Jong-un will release the list of spies in South Korea on North Korean broadcasting in order to survive himself. And while SBS, KBS, and MBC sent satellite broadcasting vehicles to Pyongyang to perform at the 2018 Pyeongchang Winter Olympic Cultural Festival, please make sure that these satellite broadcasting vehicles and broadcasting equipment return safely. If any of broadcasting stations left their broadcasting vehicles in North Korea, please impose secondary boycott sanctions on those broadcasting stations, as sending strategic materials to North Korea is a violation of the United States and the United Nations sanctions against North Korea. Currently, all broadcasting stations in Korea are members of the Korean Confederation of Trade Unions, and most broadcasting station employees are members of Korean Confederation of Trading Unions. They are consistently broadcasting pro-China, anti-America, and pro-North Korea broadcast, distorting public opinion among the people of the Republic of Korea. These media outlets and broadcasting stations can disappear from South Korea, but please shut down all broadcasting stations that left broadcasting vehicles and equipment in North Korea and impose secondary boycott sanctions on those in charge at the time and the National Intelligence Service officials. Satellite broadcasting vehicles are used as mobile missile control towers, and the industrial semiconductors and camera lenses mounted on wireless microphones and cameras are used as missile components. These devices are designated as strategic materials and are specially managed, so they cannot be sold arbitrarily, and since they are expensive equipment. If they were sold, the sale price would have been deposited into the broadcasting station's account. There is currently a rumor going around in South Korea that MBC left its vehicles in North Korea. I understand that the United States intelligence authorities have already confirmed this, So please ask them about it, and if it is confirmed, impose secondary boycott sanctions on MBC. MBC is the most pro-North Korea and pro-China broadcasting station in South Korea. And most of its staff's members are members of the Korean Confederations of Trade Unions who receive orders from North Korea. There have been many recent incidents of the Korea Confederation of the Trade Unions executives being arrested as North Korean spies. This MBC broadcasting station is at the forefront of bringing down the pro-American regime to the point that it could be said to be a broadcasting station planted by North Korea in South Korea. If this broadcasting station were to be shut down for violating United States sanctions against North Korea, and those in charge at the time were brought to court in the United States, anti-America, pro-Chinese, and pro-North Korean public opinion in South Korea would greatly subside. Since most of South Korea's prosecution, police, National Assembly, media, and academic have already been taken over by China and North Korea, I hope that secondary boycott sanction will be applied to all those individuals and organizations that have violated the United States sanctions against North Korea, and that they will be brought to the court in the United States. A list of spies, espionage in South Korea will be leaked from North Korea through North Korean broadcasting. The work of bringing individuals and organizations that violated the sanctions against North Korea to court in the United States will begin. Many anti-American, pro-Chinese, and pro-North Korean spy organizations in South Korea will disappear. In particular, we must address the violation of North Korea sanctions by Lee Jae-myung and Moon Jae-in and their remittances of dollars to North Korea. If the United States, the prosecutors, and the FBI indict them and request the South Korean government to extradite them as criminals who violated North Korea sanctions, the Korean people will come to realize the true nature of Moon Jae-in and Lee Jae-myung. Moon Jae-in and Lee Jae-myung experimented with a fraudulent election model in Korea and exported to the Biden administration in the United States, contributing greatly to overturning the result of the 2020 United States presidential elections. Moon Jae-in, Han Dong-hoon, and Yoon Suk-yeol framed innocent President Park Geun-hye and had her arrested, and they exported this model to the Biden administration in the United States, causing prosecutors in the United States to attack President Donald J. Trump. First of all, Lee Jae-myung and Moon Jae-in should be arrested for violating North Korea's sanctions. If they are brought to the United States court, it will be possible to investigate all their actions in the 2020 election fraud. First of all, I would like you to strongly pressure the South Korean government and the leadership of the ruling People Power Party to report Moon Jae-in regarding the USB he handed over to Kim Jong-un, North Korea. Also, on December 4th, 2017, a group of lawyers reported the case to the prosecution regarding former National Intelligence Service Director Seo Hoon's disclosure of the National Intelligence Service server to pro-North Korean civilians for investigation. But President Yoon Suk-yeol and the Minister of Justice, Attorney General Han Dong-hoon have not conducted any investigation at all over the past 2 years. We hope that Donald J. Trump administration will also actively pressure the Korean government and the leadership of the People Power Party to investigate this incident. If this case is properly investigated, the Democratic Party of Korea will become a North Korean spy party. And if an investigation is also conducted into the USB that Moon Jae-in handed over to North Korea, Kim Jong-un, the Democratic Party of Korea will become a North Korean spy party, and it will be easy to dissolve it as an unconstitutional party. Currently, the Ministry of Justice of the Republic of Korea has received a petition requesting that the Democratic Party of Korea and the Progressive Party be dissolved as unconstitutional political parties. So, if their North Korean espionage activities are revealed, these two parties could be uprooted from South Korea. The USB that Moon Jae-in handed over to North Korea, Kim Jong-un, contained almost all of South Korea's national secret intelligence, secret information, including information on South Korea's nuclear facilities, information on the South Korean military and the United States forces stationed in Korea, information on South Korea defense industry companies, information on South Korean banks, and information on cryptocurrency exchanges. If Kim Jong-un copied this USB and handed it over to China, Iran, Russia, etc., the United States forces stationed in Korea could suffer a devastating blow and be annihilated on the Korea Peninsula. The fact that such sensitive government secrets were leaked to North Korea was reported by all media outlets, but Yoon Suk-yeol and Han Dong-hoon did not investigate at all for the past 2 years because they were protecting Moon Jae-in and politicians from the ruling People Power Party. Did not say a single word to call for an investigation. They have already become the lackeys of China and North Korea. in just one word, they have already become a slave of China and North Korea. Almost all politicians in Korea have relatives who run companies, and most of them are making a lot of money in China. Since the Chinese Communist Party legally supports Korean politicians with bribes, it is safe to say that politicians from the People Power Party and the Democratic Party of Korea in Korea are spies or espionage for China, Chinese Communist Party. Please, United States citizens and the President of the United States, please confiscate all the assets they have hidden in the United States and deport any family members of these politicians who are studying or are doing business in the United States. First of all, Lee Jae-myung and Moon Jae-in should be brought to court in the United States for violating sanctions against North Korea. MBC should be held responsible for leaving strategic vehicles in North Korea. And secondary boycott sanctions should be imposed on the broadcasting station and its employees. There is no better way to save South Korea and save America than this extreme method. Thank you for listening. God bless all of America, and God bless Korea too. Thank you very much. This is 수영채, the Indo-Pacific Strategy Institute. Thank you for listening.